When it comes to the subject of women on boards, is the UK getting left behind? We've got in the studio two experts on this subject, Ruth Seeley and Sue Vinnicombe. Now, Ruth, is the UK getting left behind?
Well, what we've just found in our recently published Female FTSE report is that yes is the short answer. Both the UK and the US have plateaued in terms of our progress of women to the boards, whereas what we notice in a lot of other European countries and from across the world, they are really surging ahead on this.
Now, a lot of people are saying, well, I'm not so sure your facts and figures are right. There's been really quite a big shift in attitude, and I'm sure if it's numbers that count, then those numbers will be catching up very soon. What do you think?
Well, one would hope so, but that doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, this is the value, I think, of our census, which we do every year, and this is the 12th year, and what we're clearly seeing this year is that we have just stagnated at 12% women on the top FTSE 100 boards, and even worse at the next FTSE 250 boards. 53% of those boards have no women whatsoever. So what we did this year was actually to drill down and take a deeper look at what's happening at the top and the bottom of the FTSE 100. And we looked at the companies that have consistently had 20% or more women on the FTSE 100 boards for the past 5 years, and those companies that consistently had no women on the boards. And it's a really interesting analysis, because actually what you find is the companies with women on corporate boards also seem to have women on their executive committees, don't they, Ruth?
They do. So it seems to be very much about the attitude of the chairman or the individuals at the top. But what's interesting is that one of the arguments people often say was just give it time and it'll sort itself out. But I think our figures over so many years have really shown that it's not going to sort itself out at all. And that's why there's so much debate going on at the moment around should quotas be introduced to sort this problem out.
So I've certainly seen quite a bit in the press about this. Yeah. I mean, quotas seem very un-British to me, very kind of against our culture. Do you agree with quotas?
Well, I think the situation is now, as Ruth said, that other countries are doing so much better than us, and things have clearly got to change. I mean, the fact is the Prime Minister has decreed that. He's asked Lord Davis to put in his own report, which will be coming back to the Prime Minister in February 2011. And so a decision has been made in the UK to change. So it's really, are we going to introduce a quota or are we going to go other routes? Now, what we've decided at Cranfield is we shouldn't go the quota route. But what we do think is that the whole process of appointments to non-executive directorships needs to be totally reformed.
Now that's quite radical. That's going to rock the boat, isn't it?
Well, it is. I think some of the recommendations we're making will not be popular. I mean, one of them is that we feel that we should bring in a comply or explain procedure, which actually was suggested by a number of the chairmen we spoke to this year. And we feel that we should set it at 20%. So over the next 3 years, all FTSE 350 companies, the chairman need to either comply with having 20% women on their boards, or they have to explain in their annual reports why they haven't got 20%. And then we think in 3 years' time that needs to be revisited and lifted again. That's one of the recommendations that we're making, Steve.
And let's hear some more then.
Well, another one that we think is quite important is that all non-executive director positions in the private sector should be advertised. It's still too much of a closed shop at the moment, so we feel that publicly advertising would make a big difference. This obviously happens in the public sector, and their figures there are considerably better than in the private sector.
So that's two recommendations. Are there any more that you've got?
Well, there is another one which I think will be quite a popular one. I mean, I think those are the two controversial ones. I think what we have noticed over the years is that there are certain FTSE 100 companies that are really progressing well, and there clearly are chairmen who champion gender diversity on the boards, and we feel that they need to mentor some of the other chairmen, particularly the chairman in the FTSE 250, that seem to really be doing very poorly on this whole issue.
So there's 3 really quite big recommendations. What I'd like to suggest is that you have a look at these and give us your views. So post your views below this video and we'd be pleased to hear from you.